Chapter 19 Biology Theory Video 14 Social and Ethical Considerations of Genetic Screening and Genetic Therapy. So these conditions, though these practices have a lot of has created a lot of controversy. Now when you talk about genetic screening, so you can actually figure out what kind of diseases the baby is going to have. So people actually use that for, or they misuse this for their, to satisfy their other requirements. So they have many advantages, obviously, because you can identify breast cancer. And if you have the uh, if you have the risk, then you can take preventive treatments, and also you can change your lifestyle to reduce the risk. Then um then it has many economic benefits, because the money that would be used to treat long term health issues can be spent on other things. Then uh, uh, then the ethical issues that comes along with this is actually, now for example, if you take Huntington's disease, so it is a late onset disease. That means you get this disease when your symptoms will start to develop at after you have passed your middle age. So this that is usually after people have had children, and they lived most of their life. And sometimes they don't even develop any disease, and also there is no cure for this. So what is the purpose of knowing it if you don't have any treatment? No treatment, and the only thing that you can do is to reduce the symptoms. Whatever the disease, whatever the treatments that are there, it will reduce the symptoms, but not it will not cure the disease. So that is a problem that people are saying. Uh, uh, then also people can figure out the sex of the baby that they are going to have, and some people choose not to have that baby, or else some people choose to change the chromosomes of the baby, so that they will have the child would be of the sex that they require. So this will obviously create some issues. Children of one sex would increase in number, or there is a natural balance will be broken. Then a lot of people believe that it is actually uh, it is not it is not ethical to terminate any any womb, any embryo, whether it is sick or not. uh, they argue that uh, every the life starts right at the beginning, and there is no right for us to take that life away. So these are different arguments that are brought forward against these things, these genetics related arguments. Then gene therapy is uh, another phenomena that has been argued by many people. For one thing, gene therapy costs a lot of money. So a lot of people argue that it is something that rich people use to develop their gene pool, or to produce the model or the designer individuals. So this is actually something that has been practiced as well in the first part of the 20th century. They wanted to improve the humankind. This is known as eugenics, and they selected encourage some people to have children, and they discourage others to not have children. So that is the intelligent and good looking people were asked to create children, but the others were not. They were discouraged from making children. So this was an unethical thing to do. So this was abandoned later on. Uh, there are problems with which comes along with gene therapy. Gene therapies could be temporary because they have these genetically modified cells would have a short lifespan. Then it is not easy to direct the vectors to specific cells, so it might bring about unnecessary results. And however, then some diseases, when we send the allele and when we recombine it, sometimes unnecessary results will also come about. So these things, now after the development of CRISPR-Cas9 technology, this has advanced a lot. However, still there are things that people are actually against, because sometimes you will be able to, in the future you will be able to uh, produce the best. You can actually have the best genes collected together and then passed on to the next generation. This is called this is uh, this is called this is actually gene selection. So selection is, so far it is not illegal, but it is not practiced anywhere. So as a result, there are no laws that have been brought forward, but this might be being practiced in laboratories. uh, Now, when you deliver genes to all the cells that require them uh, to overcome different diseases, is called germline therapy. This actually brings about uh, the fact that the gene or genes that are concerned would be brought into an egg or into a zygote. Then the gene would be in every cell of the body and would be passed on to future generations. So the gene is, that is, the modified uh, gene uh, that is going to actually uh, that would not cause, or the genes that would prevent conditions such as heart diseases, etc. So these are introduced onto this, and this is not legal in germline gene therapy is not legal in any of the countries, but they have said that it might have been practiced in China. Then RNA interference. IRNA is a new alternative to this gene therapy. So what happens is, small molecules of RNA would be taken up by cells, combine them with mRNA of a gene that is needed to be silenced. So what happens is, this drug will actually silence the genes that are not required. And so this is not something, the ethical problems would not actually come about because of this drug. Write down a note on this. There are benefits in genetic screening and gene therapy. However, many arguments have been brought against, because there is a lot of controversy surrounding these genetic changes that are brought about. One argument that people bring about to oppose genetic screening is that it causes unnecessary strain on people who might not develop any complications due to the presence of the bad gene. Example, Huntington's disease. Also, people believe that pre-implantation genetic diagnosis, that is PGD, allows mothers to select the sex of the child and also they may wish to discard a fetus just because they belong to the sex that they do not want. Gene therapy would benefit only a tiny minority of people, and people feel that this improves humans, which is identified to be unethical. And the problems associated with gene therapy, including the results being temporary, issues with vectors and vectors causing new diseases, has resulted in many ethical problems being raised. However, a new alternative is using an RNA interference in a drug which would combine with mRNA to silence genes that are not required. This does not change the genomic DNA. As a result, there are no ethical dilemmas associated with this. I hope you understood. If you have any questions, please ask.